I have 3 children with my ex-wife, and all of them are adults apart from the youngest. I was married to my ex for 21 years before we divorced, and am now engaged to my partner of 4 years with whom I share a son with. My daughter, Erin, never got along with my partner, and frankly treats her terribly. My partner is an amazing woman and gets along with my other kids well. I believe Erin's big problem is that we started soon after my divorce was finalized. To dismiss any assumptions, I did not cheat with her, and although I did know her, she was just a mere acquaintance who knew a friend. I only introduced her to my kids as my partner almost a year ago. On New Year's, my partner and I decided to get married and to make it a small affair. Just sign with our witnesses, then go to this nice beach restaurant for a small party with max 15 people. And we set the date for the 2nd, April. Told my kids, and Erin lost it, apparently because we were getting married before her, even though she and her fiancé got engaged long before us. So now we're saturating things. Their wedding is planned for August, so I don't see the problem, but she's still mad and told me that she wouldn't be coming. Tried pleading with her, but she isn't budging, so I left things. It hurts, but that's her decision. My ex-wife came to talk about it, and I mentioned in passing that if she couldn't find it in her to support me this one time, then I don't think I'd be able to walk her down the aisle. My ex-wife told our daughter and things exploded. Edit. I'm 44, my partner is 36, and my daughter is 23. Yes, the a-hole, for playing tit for tat with your own daughter. This won't mend your relationship. The only reason to do this is if you are ready to give up on having a relationship with your child. I agree with this statement. Your daughter's behavior is childish and embarrassing. You acting like your daughter just to punish her is also childish and embarrassing. Just because your daughter is acting a fool doesn't mean you have to act one. It always bothers me in these situations when a post like this is made, and immediately in the comments, it's "everyone sucks here," when the man is just responding to how he's been treated for no reason. Why is there never comments calling the daughter out on the permanence of what she's doing, not attending his wedding, but God forbid he do the same thing, and he's the monster here? Maybe it's just because my family is horrible and not permanent, but I see no reason to try and force someone who hates my fiancé to a special day celebrating us and our nuptials. The duck is the point, so she can be negative and unhappy all day and bring the mood down? I'm sorry, but if she is an adult treating her father this way because he dares to get married to someone before she does, and it's not even anything valid like he's marrying his mistress from the marriage. I get that what he is doing is going to cement the relationship, but for me, what she is doing, and has been doing since she met Erin, would have cemented it for me. I love my son, but I would be disgusted if he grew up and treated someone this way for the most inconsequential of reasons. I know everyone is saying everyone sucks here, and that's fine, but my personal opinion is not the a-hole. It's ducking annoying seeing the amount of double standards in the comments against parent and child, honestly. And I don't want to hear a single response about it's because he's the parent and should know better. She's literally an engaged adult. So does she. Seriously. I'm 30 male. I married my ex-wife at 21 because she was pregnant. We had been dating for 3 years before that. We had our baby boy and eventually realized this marriage just wasn't working. When our son was 2 years old, we got a divorce. I moved out and rented an apartment close to where we used to live. We love co-parenting. Our son spends a week at each apartment, but we live just 2 blocks apart, and he can visit each of us anytime he wants, wherever he is staying. He is now 9, and we both think we did the right thing by separating and still raising him together. I'm getting married this fall, and my fiancée moved in with me a few months ago. My son loves her. She loves him. They get along great. She just has a problem with me still being close with my ex-wife. My birthday is next weekend, and like every year, I invited a bunch of friends with their kids and also my ex-wife and our son. I do it every year. When I told my fiancée who was coming, she got really angry, yelled at me, and said I'm an a-hole for including my ex-wife in everything I ever do. She said this will have to change when we get married. I told her I will always consider my ex-wife my friend, and I will always love her as the mother of my son. Fiancé left really upset, and later texted me that I am an a-hole for choosing my ex over her. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. If fiancé can't understand the importance of you continuing to have a friendly relationship with the mother of your child, then this is probably not a good relationship for either of you. If fiancé cannot trust you to be faithful, then the relationship is never going to work. This dynamic will only get worse if you have children with your fiancé. She will see her children differently and not want your son's mom there. She might even exclude your son from her family events. She is showing you she wants a nuclear family only. Ew. I've known the father of my kiddos since I was 13 and he was 14. I was 20 when I gave birth, 22 when we broke up. We've co-parented amazingly well. Our kiddo is 16 now. We're 36 and 37, respectively. I have my own healthy romantic relationship, currently pregnant. He is married with another kiddo of his own. We also have boundaries. I have my family and friends, and he has family and friends. And that is okay. Boundaries don't mean I dislike someone any less. Boundaries are healthy for every other relationship in my life. We get together for our kiddos' birthdays, celebrations, but that's about it. A lot of people don't seem to think boundaries are healthy and necessary, which is a bit troubling. Boundaries are important for every interpersonal relationship we have, in each of their forms. You can have your kid at your birthday party, of course, but I don't see why it's necessary to have your ex. I think you need to decide if you want to hang on to your past or move into your future. Your fiancé isn't excluding kiddo whatsoever. She just wants boundaries with an ex-partner, which is perfectly healthy and okay. This isn't your child's birthday, it's your birthday. My fiancé, 27 male, and I, 25 female, haven't seen my mother-in-law since December 2019. Last weekend, we went to see her and my father-in-law, and we brought our daughter, 4 female, for dinner. Our daughter is not my fiancé's biological child, but we were friends and reconnected after I left my ex, when my daughter was just a few months old. And my in-laws met her when she was about a year and a half, and have always said they consider her their grandchild. They've never treated her differently than the other grandchildren. She calls them abuela and abuelo, etc. So, when we were visiting, my daughter went off to play with their dog, and my mother-in-law turned to my fiancé and said, "So when will you give me a real grandchild?" We were both shocked. He reminded her that I almost died during my last labor, and we weren't sure if we wanted another child with the way the world is going right now. She said, "What do you mean another? You don't have a child." I started crying. I was adopted by my mom's new husband after my dad died, and when they got divorced, he dissolved the adoption and his family never spoke to me again. I was 5 when I got adopted and 17 when he dissolved it. It reminded me of that, and I couldn't help it. My fiancé was angry, so after I stopped crying, we got our daughter and left. My father-in-law called me screaming that I made a scene and made his wife cry for telling her she wasn't really my daughter's grandmother. I was angry and told him what really happened. Of course, he didn't believe me over his wife, so I gave the phone to his son. My father-in-law called me back the next day, apologizing profusely for the phone call before and my mother-in-law's actions. He said that he loves my daughter, she is his real grandchild, etc. However, everyone else in the family says that she's right and my daughter isn't part of the family because she isn't blood. She won't really be even when she's formally adopted, and I hurt my mother-in-law's feelings by leaving so soon after we got there. My sister-in-law said with my background, I should get it. I was blindsided because no one has ever treated her differently, so I had no idea they felt like this. I feel like my reaction was normal, and my fiancé is so mad he wants to uninvite his mother from the wedding. They were very close before this, so paired with the rest of his family, I'm second-guessing myself. I don't want to be the reason they're not close, but she really hurt me, and it would have crushed my daughter if she'd heard. But maybe I overreacted? Edit to add. This also caused my father-in-law to stay with us. He hasn't spoken to my mother-in-law since Wednesday. He was a dumpster baby and was taken in by his parents when he was a toddler. So he took what she said to mean that he wasn't really a part of his family either, and there was a huge fight about it. I'm being blamed for it because if I hadn't left, then they wouldn't have fought since he wouldn't have known anything was wrong. Edit. Her bio father isn't in the picture. He decided when I was 8 months pregnant he didn't want her and told me to get an A or give her to his brother and his wife. I said no, and that's why I left him. He has no legal rights to her, has never seen her, and doesn't even know her name. Mother-in-law wasn't protecting herself in case my ex took her away from them all. I also would have understood her being worried about that if she'd said it, but she's aware of this and knows the only reason my fiancé hasn't adopted our daughter is because he wants her to have a say and to be old enough to at least kind of understand what an adoption is. Not the a-hole. Your mother-in-law is 500% out of line here, and your fiancé has a nice shiny spine. Good for him. He seems like a very good man and caring father. Let him deal with his mother, and maybe give him a nice back rub or something afterwards. Not the a-hole. I can't imagine how it must feel to be in a situation where you thought you were surrounded by people who you believed were family, but they thought something different. And for your sister-in-law to then say you should understand because of what happened to you is low, because it clearly hurt you a lot. I think your mother-in-law knew she was wrong straight away, and that's why she lied to your father-in-law about what happened. I don't think you overreacted at all, because there will probably be a hesitancy around you and your in-laws due to this. I would say it may be good for your partner and mother-in-law to have a chat first, just so he asserts how close he is to your child, so she hears it from him. I, 32 female, recently inherited a house from my grandparents. I moved in along with my 2-year-old daughter about a month ago, and I've been looking for a boarder for the downstairs apartment. It is fully self-contained, but I want to be picky about the tenant as we are close to a university and I don't want any loud parties or music late at night. So I'm offering it for very cheap, $150 a week. Market for similar in this area is $250 to $350, with some conditions like no loud music after 8 p.m., no gatherings of more than 7 people, etc., etc. Nothing that I think is particularly unreasonable. My ex, who I dated when I was 22 to 26, was one of the first applicants and came to the first viewing that I conducted. I told him before the viewing that I thought it would be wasting his time to come, as I didn't think he would be a good fit. He throws regular large parties, plays loud music, etc. In the 4 years I knew him, he was kicked out of multiple flats for not being considerate of others. He is also extremely controlling. During the flat viewing, he tried to tell other people that he was definitely taking the place and was constantly telling me where he wanted furniture moved to and which pieces I'd have to put in storage so he could move his stuff in. After the second viewing, where he showed up unannounced, I told him that I had someone very interested and he couldn't move in. This was a white lie, as I had a few interested but no one committed yet. 2 weeks later, I re-advertised, and he immediately started hassling me again, and I told him that I would absolutely never rent to him, so to leave me alone. He flipped his crap, hassling me about my daughter needing a father, that I was biased against him, etc. I ended up blocking him because he was calling all hours of the night to hassle me. Now friends of both of us are at me to give him a second chance, and I'm starting to feel guilty. It's been 6 years since we split. Maybe he's changed and I dismissed him without consideration. Am I the a-hole here? He is not the father of my daughter. She was conceived using a sperm donor and surrogate. I have a family history of cervical cancer, and when I was 25 or 26, I had a couple of smears that showed abnormal precancerous cells. Ex didn't want kids ever, and didn't want to go through cancer treatments, so we split up. I spent a couple years dating, but was diagnosed with cervical cancer when I was 27. I had eggs collected and then had a full hysterectomy. After I was through with treatment and in the all clear, I arranged a surrogate and my daughter was born. Why would you give a second chance to this guy? He's clearly still a massive jerk, harassing you over this. He obviously hasn't changed. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. I mean, his current behavior alone shows exactly why he should never, ever, ever be your tenant. Ever, ever. Yeah, he's trying to be controlling now, and he doesn't even live there. Not the a-hole. And remember, no is a complete sentence. Don't even give an excuse or a reason. You owe him nothing. Every response from now on needs to be a simple no, not one word more. This happened a few weeks ago. Baby girl, I, 27 male, thought was mine, has another father. 3 months after she was born, I posted pics of her with my ex-girlfriend of 5 years. Guy reaches out to me saying he was with her, had no idea she was in a relationship, and baby might be his. Well, as it turns out, after we did a paternity test, I'm not her father. My ex moved out of our apartment with her daughter, living with her mom for now. I've still been pissed off and hurt. I found out she took the baby blanket my great-grandma made herself when she moved out, since I couldn't find it anywhere in my apartment. It's been passed down in our family whenever a new baby is born. Wanted to pass it down to my kids, so that's why I was given the blanket when my ex got pregnant. I drove to her mom's house and demanded she give the blanket back, since I want to have it for my future kids. My ex didn't want to. I don't know if it would be petty because it's not like she doesn't have other baby clothes, blankets and stuff. She claimed it was a gift for the baby, and you can't demand to be given a gift back. My argument was the gift was meant for a baby that I was tricked into thinking is mine, and now would like it back because neither of them are my family anymore. We fought back and forth till she gave it to me. Her mom was telling me crap the following day. Then she went and complained on Twitter that I stole our baby's blanket. Most of our friends are calling her crap because everyone knows what went down. But still, there are some who think I went too far with demanding to have the blanket given back. I'm not sure why. It's my family's blanket, and in the future, I want that for my actual kids, not let it be taken by someone who lied and hurt me. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Simple. It is a blanket meant for your baby. This baby is not yours. If you had decided to raise the baby as yours regardless of DNA, I am sure you would have let her keep the blanket. Not the a-hole. Put her on blast on social with the I wanted a family heirloom intended for my child back. She lied about me being the father and let me and family get attached to baby that wasn't mine. Which is really worse here? Ditch anyone who sides with her after that.